Hi everyone, welcome to today's session. Today, I'll be showing you how to use Jinja2 template for network automation. So first of all, what is Jinja2? Um, there's been a time when you actually want to configure a lot of network devices, maybe routers and switches, and you paste the same command over and over again with some variables changes, such as VLAN, IP address, and other unique parameters or variables. So what Jinja2 is going to give us is actually what we call a templates. So the template is that we are going to have like a structure so that the only thing you're going to pass to the template is just your variables, and the variables will be unique to each of the devices. So I'm going to walk you through an example where we're going to show you how you can actually fill your configuration with the exact variables you want, and then at the end of the day, you have your config running instead of copying and pasting, changing values and all those kind of configuration. You're going to encounter some errors in one way or the other. But with Jinja2 templates, you can actually work with it. It's easy. It's very easy to work with. So let's get started. So I have a I have a working example here. I'm going to walk you through this. So the first of all is that you need to install Jinja2. So it's just a pip install Jinja2. But because I have it already on my terminal, so that's why I don't need to install it again. So that's it. So when it's like it's a module, so when you install it, there's a particular function that is called template. So look at these templates more like how you use your with open handler when you're opening the file. Do you understand? So now we're going to use with open handler to open that J2. So now let's look at what we call the J2. J2 is actually the extension format for Jinja2 templates. Same way we have .py for Python file, we have J2 for Jinja2. So now let's look at what's inside this guy. So now this is just a basic, simple, a basic example. So this is interface. So I want to configure an interface, an access port on the switch, right? So I will have to put the interface, maybe G001 or G002. Description is unique. Switch port mode access is an access port. The VLAN, this is because it's connected to an edge devices. That's why we have the port fast there and no shutdown. So even in this configuration, there are some unique variables there. The interface, you're going to need one to pass it to it. For example, maybe you want to configure several interface. So this is a variable. This is how you denote a variables. It's double curly braces. So this is what they call a variable. This is the description is a variable, and this VLAN is a variable. So this is what you call your Jinja2 templates. Now going back to the Python file. So I'm very sure my previous videos I've shown you how you can work with open handler. So opening that Jinja2 template, you need to read it as F. So template equals this is just like a variable. You can call this guy any name, but you're going to inherit this particular function, which this template that you import from Jinja2. F dot equals to when you are reading the template out. So now these are the variables. So this is actually a dictionary. So we have the variables there: interface, description, and the VLAN. Those variables that was present inside your configuration is actually here. So you can then, the last thing to do is just to render those values into the template. So the template you've opened, config equals to template.render into data, this data that you just import now. So at the end of the day, if you run this guy, this particular command, it's going to generate that configuration file for you. So now let's try it. Python working with Jinja. Interesting. So you can actually see that at the end of the day, I've been able to project and also give me the exact value which I actually wanted to use to create my my device. So for example, now let's see for example, now let's make it more interesting. So let's say we have let me just let's change this to multiple devices. This is just a single device for us to work with. Let's say we have multiple, let's call it devices, and let's say um, we have a list of dictionaries because you have multiple devices. Let's do it like this. So let's make all of them in a list. So this is the first device. Um, let's say user 001, 0002, and the last one. Let's say this one VLAN is VLAN 20. The last one is VLAN 3, VLAN 30. Let's see, this one is HR, this one is finance, um, finance, desktop, and the last one, let's see, this one is IT support. So, like this is a typical example of an enterprise where you have different um, different devices. You understand? So now we won't be able to use this guy again because you have a list of data. So the interesting part of it is let me just answer it. So what do you think will be the best thing to use now? Since we already have what we call a list of dictionary. So you just know it's not small one interface again, one devices again. It's a list of devices, and all of them have different VLAN. So the interesting part of this is that these devices you can make it a CSV file or JSON file. So it's just more like having a dictionary or a list of dictionary of the data. So let's see. So the best thing I can do now is use a for loop. So for device or device in devices, I can say print templates. Templates. And if you remember this template here, the variable here, right? Because we've actually initialized our Jinja2 templates with with the Jinja2 with the template function. So the template dot render. What are we rendering? We're rendering each of these devices here into bracket device. So let me just print. Let me just so at the end of the day, if I run this, it's going to generate the config for each of these devices for me. So I can just easily paste it and use it. So now let's see an interesting fact we're going to do now. So let me save it and so once I save it, I remember let's run it again. So interesting. So if you followed me through, you can see that G001 description, HR desktop, switch port mode access, no config. The same configuration, this interface 02, finance desktop, VLAN 20. So you can see how easily for you to be able to use it. So it actually shows the interesting feature of actually using a Jinja2 template. You can actually use it for a lot of things. For example, maybe you are onboarding a lot of devices. Maybe you have a lot of VLANs you want to put there, interface description, and all of that. Or you are just even provisioning a lot of devices, maybe some routers and switches in your data center. Or you want to standardize configuration across multiple devices. You have like a format or a template you use in your company, and what is changing in each of them are just some specific variables. So Jinja2 is actually one of the best things you actually want to use. And also, you can actually avoid human error. You won't be able to avoid anything. You can see that easily. I can, if I want to do this for 100 VLANs, I can actually use this to do 100 VLANs without making any mistake. And at the end of the day, I can actually use the NetMiko module to push this to a respective device. That shows how very interesting it looks like. So what I'm going to do next is that I'm going to do something interesting now. So what I'm going to do interesting now is that I'm going to do a conditional statement. So I'm going to show you how you can actually see a conditional statement when using when configuring for Jinja2. So let me create a template now. Interface to bracket templates dot J2. So sometimes when you have to configure, so now let's do this. This is an example of. So I have an example here. I'm going to take you through this example. So what this example means that, the usual way we have it, interface description. So now, for example, there's some situation whereby the mode is access, right? Some port is going to be access. So this is how you introduce condition into Jinja2 template. So this curly braces percentage, if mode equals to access, then switch port mode access, right? If mode is equals to access, switch mode access, switch port access VLAN. So it means that once this particular statement is valid, this two configuration is going to be run on the device. Else if, just like the same conditional stuff we've been discussing in Python as well, else if this conditional clause, you can see that this is the end for this conditional clause. So else if it is strong, I get in. If it is strong, switch port mode trunk and allow the VLAN end interface. As simple as ABC. It's very, very interesting. Very, very interesting. I'm very sure you're going to like. So I'm going to use this also in some videos coming up. But I want you to see the logic behind it. The conditional statement: if mode equals to access, else if mode equals to trunk. So if the mode equals to access, run this command. But if it is trunk, run the below commands. Then end if you end the if block, and the last one is the no shutdown. So look at this J2 templates, compare it with this VLAN template. So you can see there's a bit of difference, right? So this one is just the static one. It's not dynamic. There's no conditional variable there. But the other one has some kind of condition. So now let's test the other one with it. And let's see how it's going to work. So let's let me just come here. Let me modify this configuration a bit. I'm going to copy this. Working with multiple .py. So I'm going to paste this. But what I'm going to do here is I'm referencing the new interface template. So it's just the new guy I'm going to use now. The interface for templates. So maybe for my devices, maybe device 1 is VLAN, let's say VLAN 1, VLAN 2 is so another thing is that since my conditional statement based on my templates, so let's go to the template. I have the mode access here, so I need to include that mode inside my data so that it's going to be able to give that instructional instructional variable. So that mode access needs to be in my data. So where is it? So let me have it. So interface, let's say description, and just put mode. Mode. Let's call it access. Let's put the comma there. Okay, I think we're good. Registration mode equals to access. And yeah, so I'm going to copy this as well. So others. So let's say um, so, and the last one is let me copy one of this and put it in the last one. Um, so I'm introducing another interface. Let's say VLAN. Uh, let's say let's use the 48 ports. 48 mode trunk. Description uplink. Uplink. Let's say uplink. 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 So call switch. So call switch. So I'll put the variable there. And the VLANs, I have multiple VLANs here, right? So it's going to be a list because it's a list of VLANs. So let's say I have 10, 20, 30. And I'm going to close the curly braces. That's for dictionary. So looking at this now, you can see that the interface G001 is mode access, description, child desktop, and all of that. And the last interface is trunk, right? So for example, assuming I need to put this in like maybe like 10 switches, 10 devices. I can't be doing this, configuring the interface and all of that one after the other. So I can actually generate the template from here. And I'll be able to do that as well. So now let's do something here. Let me save this command. Then let me run my Python. Working with multiple, say multiple. Okay. I think my spelling is not right. Working with multiple. Yeah. So this is it. So let me save this as well. And let's come here. So let's see how the configuration is going to look like. Interesting. So, guys, can you see? Can you see? This is each of the device. So device one interface is 1001. Description, switch port mode access, switch port mode access, VLAN 10, no shutdown, final desktop, VLAN 20, no shutdown. The same configuration. You can see the beauty of actually using a template. And the last one, which is, can you see? Interface G001, description mode trunk, switch port trunk allow VLAN. So you can see that the flexibility of actually using a um, a Jinja2 template. So thank you for following me through this session. In the next video, I'm going to show you how we were able to use a Jinja2 template with OSPF to form a backbone network for an ISP design network lab. So thank you for listening. If you have any question, drop it on the comment section. See you in the next session. Thank you.